Welcome to our conversation on the purpose mindset with Jean-Philippe Courtois, Executive Vice President and the President of International and all of Microsoft's global community, and Pamela Maynard, the CEO of Avanade. We have just come out of an extraordinary year where in a moment our world was turned upside down. And that 1 year has given us all a time to reflect and also time to recognize how humanity has come together to overcome this pandemic and to come out of it much stronger. Purpose mindset, which you're going to hear about through Jean-Philippe and Pamela Maynard, is extending that and creating a trinity between yourself, your work, and your community. And that trinity extends us from the focus on the me to the we and the common good. It is about us waking up every day to make a difference. Purpose and individuals wanting something that is much more meaningful in their work is what we are seeing happening. So with that, let me just start by asking both of you, your journey in the business world and how some key events have shaped your life and your focus on driving a purpose mindset. Jean-Philippe, let's start with you and share us your amazing journey that you've had both at Microsoft and work that you are doing outside.
Yeah, thank you, Akhtar. And first of all, it's really a delight for me to join you and Pam on this call and to talk about, I believe, what is the most fundamental motivational factor for any being on Earth, by the way, or North Star, or mission, or purpose in life, in many ways. So when it comes to the way I've gone through my professional life, personal life as well, Akhtar, I would say I got lucky. I got lucky to be, back in 1982, a few years back, right? I had some real dark hair at the time, I can tell you. And at the time, I was not actually even graduated from business school, but I joined a small, fast-growing French software company. Yeah, that was building actually an operating system on the Apple II. That was a very nascent software industry, the very beginning. And at the time, I was lucky to work on an exciting project to build a software accounting, basically package, to enable small businesses to do a lot more compared to the old mini equipment system that were like 50 times more expensive, of course, than a personal computer. I got in love with software at the time where the industry was basically just starting. And 2 years after, I guess another chance in my life, I got to meet with a few great people. At the time, Michel Lacombe, unfortunately late Michel, and Bernard Verne, who were the founders of the French subsidiary of Microsoft. And I joined Microsoft in 1984. At the time, just to give you a sense, hey, it was a much smaller company.
Yes.
I think we were, as you may know, we are less than 900 people globally and less than $100 million. But what really got me excited at the time is, again, the very clear sense of mission. You may recall, and some of you may recall, there was a very clear vision shaped by Bill, our founder, of course, Bill Gates, who said, there will be a day when we've done a great job altogether, beyond Microsoft, by the way, where there'll be a computer on every desk in every home. And that has carried me and many of my colleagues in the industry for like 40 years, okay? And that moment, I understood that, wow, having such a purpose, at the core of your business or connected to your life is incredibly meaningful. Now, doing a fast forward, if I may, many years ahead, now in the future, 6 years ago, actually 7 years ago now, Satya was named as our third CEO, for history of the company. And I had the privilege, of course, to join Satya in the executive senior leadership team of Microsoft to run our global sales marketing operations. And at the time when Satya took his office, he really invited all of us, all the employees, not just the executive team, to really rethink our worldview. What is Microsoft really point of view and relevance in this new world we are in? It was very clear to us that we had to reset our mission. And this is the way we came up with this new mission, which is the second one in 47 years of life, right, for Microsoft, which is about empowering every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And I can tell you again, for the last 7 years of my life professionally as well, this has carried me in every single moment with customers, with partners, employees, with NGOs, with governments, to truly ask myself and our teams, what are we achieving together really through the power of innovation technology that enable all of them to do a lot more? And that's the power, I think, of the purpose and the mission, Akhtar, that I got lucky early on in my career to build upon.
Jean-Philippe, thank you very much for sharing that story. Pamela, you also have this amazing story with your background and how you reached the pinnacle of the tech industry by becoming a CEO of such a large company. Can you just take us through your journey?
When I think about my career, and thank you for your kind words in terms of how you described my path. Originally, I was kind of in a space where I thought I wanted to be an architect. My dreams were around buildings and creating buildings, and when I was very young as a child, and then I sort of shifted and thought, no, I want to be law, and being a lawyer was the thing that I wanted to be. And so my path to CEO is not really the CEO of a significant tech company has not actually been a straight line, and interestingly, that intentionality around becoming a lawyer stayed with me until the point of me doing my very last A-level exam. So there's the exams you do in the UK before you then head off to university. And to be honest, as I walked out of that exam, I thought I don't want to do law anymore. And I didn't know why. I just knew instinctually that that was not what I wanted to do. And I remember having a conversation with my mother about the fact that I didn't want to do it. And she was very cool and calm about it and said, look, what do you know what you want to do? I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I knew I still wanted to go to university. And I actually chose to do a business degree instead. And that was good, a really good decision on my part, because that created choices and opportunity for me. And I actually did my year out. It was a 4-year degree. I did that at IBM. And that showed me really what I wanted to do, which was to use technology to transform and change businesses and outcomes. I joined Oracle and Oracle's graduate program, and then after that spent time at EY and also Capgemini, and started back at Avanade back in 2008. Where I've served in different leadership roles right the way through to being appointed CEO in September of 2019. And as someone who's had a front row seat, if you like, of the power of technology to change things for the better, it's also taught me to fully appreciate the roles that so many people play and are involved in playing in what we do and the change that we drive. And therefore, when I became CEO, I knew that one of the first things that I wanted to do and we needed to do was really formalize our purpose. Our purpose, which is to make a genuine human impact. And when it comes to experiences or events which have been important or shown me the importance of purpose, I'll go way back to the early stages of my career. And I remember being in an elevator with a senior leader in the company that I was in then, and he directed me. He asked me if I was new, and I said I was, and he directed me to the secretarial pool. And that immediately made me feel like, I'm not really sure that I'm going to belong here. and made me feel quite small. And it reminded me of conversations that I'd had with my family about the importance of not being made to feel small, and the importance of using your voice to speak up. So I corrected him very quickly in terms of what my role was in the organisation. But then also more than that, it gave me a sense of the importance of creating a workplace where people could feel that they really belonged. And that was one of the first experiences that I've really taken forward with me. And then, like Jean-Philippe, if you fast forward then to when I became CEO of Avanade, as I say, September 2019, and then coming off the high of the first 6 months of being the leader, then we got hit by the global pandemic. And then, there was the whole experience across the world in the wake of the murder of George Floyd and the global protests that followed that. And our people, communities, they were in pain, they were in shock. There were concerns, there was horror, there was panic, if you like, back at those times. And in those early days as a CEO, I also reflected on other conversations I had with family members and talking about the responsibility that I was taking on in terms of becoming a CEO, the responsibility for our people, but also more than that, being a role model as a Black female leader in technology, and the importance of being seen and being an advocate and being an ally, and also in terms of paying it forward as well. And that experience again taught me how important it was as a leader to ensure that others are empowered to bring their whole selves to work and provide experiences where they truly believe that they can fulfill their purpose as well.
Well, we would have missed you as an architect. I trained as an architect. I practiced architecture and taught architecture for a decade before transitioning into the nonprofit world, which then brought me to Microsoft to run its global philanthropy team. So Jean-Philippe, coming back to you, you over your amazing 37 years, but since the last 15 years, you've taken on a very important role in launching different kinds of initiatives in the company that are extending the value of Microsoft and also extending the common good. Can you talk a little bit about these initiatives and why you think it is so important for a company to show that it is rooted within the larger world of humanity?
Yeah, Akhtar, a great question about how you evolve, certainly as a company, as a large organization, when it comes to basically align, I think, the purpose of the organization with the purpose of all its employees and the people. And as I said, it's been a privilege for me for the last many years to contribute to that. And I think at a high level, I would say, too often, in many business forums I've been participating, most business leaders, I would say, just spend too much time on the what and the how to do things with their people, but they don't often speak long enough and deeply enough about the why. And to me, the why is the most critical question that everyone needs to respond to. Actually, there's this beautiful quote from Mark Twain, I'm sure a very well-known American author by all of you, which I like actually reading too. And he said, there are two most important dates in your life, which is the day you are born and the day you find out why. And I think, certainly in my case, not just across my professional life, but personal life, like all of us, right, as people, I've tried to reconcile those two things as much as I can, because we spend so much time in our professional lives. If those moments are not moments of joy, of accomplishments, of fulfillment and impact, this is not time well spent. And so with that, given some leadership roles I had with Microsoft years, I've been quite obsessed in a good way to truly empower every country in the world we operate as a company. We know we have subsidiaries in more than 120 countries, and operate in 190 countries. I probably visited 110 of them over the last 37 years. So I still need to visit a few others, by the way. And I've been shaping for the last 20 years plus what we call now kind of a cloud AI, basically empowerment plan for the countries. What it is, it's really bringing in the hands of our leaders, one country at a time, the power of innovation, number one, to accelerate digital transformation of the countries so that we can really bring the best of innovation at the core of the public sector, industries. The second thing is certainly about policies, making sure we can help on security, privacy, sovereign cloud, and more. We just made some announcement to make it even more spatial for unique needs of states. The third area is all about skilling. In this case, Akhtar, better than others. Skilling is the name of the game. And we are on a big initiative, as a company, and I'm partnering with Brad Smith, that you know well, to go and enable with our Global Skills Initiative 30 million people already that we've been training, that have been able to take learning paths on our Microsoft Learn platform, but also LinkedIn and many other platforms they use to get the digital skills, to get certified on cloud and AI, and get fantastic jobs. And when I see that being done at a country level, like India, where there's amazing things happening, and also very sad, of course, moments going through India right now with the pandemic. And I want certainly to show my empathy with our people and all the broader community in India. We've seen our people using or creating Bing COVID tracker to help the communities to truly understand how we can make an impact. I've been partnering, when I was there physically before the pandemic, with the State Bank of India to go on a wonderful initiative in the banking sector to help skill people with disabilities to actually have a fantastic job opportunity in State Bank of India. And again, there's so much more we do and we can do. And this is the reason why we are also expanding that on what we call really tech for good or AI for good. So this is a place where I'm very passionate, as you may know as well, to really enable social entrepreneurs of the world, but also change makers and big companies too, by the way, to embrace sustainability at the core of their innovation, and also to create some new innovative solutions to have a positive impact on the world. And so all of that is something I'm very passionate about, that I have the privilege to bring alongside of business execution as a company. And I'm certainly very appreciative of what we can allow all those countries and people to do around the world.
Jean-Philippe, this is so amazing as to what you've just talked about, and this whole focus on social entrepreneurship. And I know that when Satya came in 2014, he actually launched the hackathon within the company to get employees to come and use technology in creative ways to impact humanity. And I know that you all just spoke to an internal team of employees that created this fantastic application called Mirror HR that is able to detect epilepsy in kids as it onsets. Can you talk just a little bit about why it is so important to provide these kinds of opportunities for employees?
I'm a strong believer, Akhtar, that when you really apply what I'm passionate about, which is positive leadership, right? Positive leadership is really a school, not just of thought, a school of practice based on positive psychology, neurosciences, which is all about unleashing the potential of people by aligning their personal purpose they have in their lives with the organization they are working with. So that's a big thing. By the way, I'm very passionate. I'm going to launch a podcast. I'm doing a little bit of commercial here very soon. So you're going to hear from me on positive leadership. In a way, it's applied across business, CEOs, NGOs, but also academia and researchers and more, because I can see an amazing impact in a positive way. And so coming back to the Microsoft discussion, I would say it's wonderful, I can tell you. When you open the opportunity to our employees, they are all like raising their hand, whether it is for the hackathons for good in the company, volunteering, the gift campaigns. We've seen an amazing, I would say, response from our people to do more for such social enterprise, or actually for NGOs directly as well, to use the power of innovation to scale the positive impact that can really grow sustainability, include more people in the workforce, and do a lot more in many different fields of the UN development goals. So I'm excited because I know we can do, and our people want us to do even more, by the way. So I'm going to continue to carry that for the company in the coming year with a global social entrepreneurship initiative that I'm going to lead to get even further with the company.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that. Pamela, when I first met you, after you had just been appointed here in Seattle, you were with, I think, 6 young women as part of the STEM initiative that you have launched. But more than that, I saw a piece of you interacting with these young women and how they all lit up with the conversation that you were having with them. It kind of, to me, exemplified the empathy that you brought out into these young girls. Share with us a little bit about why you think it is so important to build leadership and access to leadership at such a young age.
Yeah, and and thank you again for your kind words, Akhtar, and you've just reminded me of that situation, and also how inspiring and energizing it was for me as a leader, to be there with that group of women. For as long as I can remember, the technology industry has really struggled to attract more women into STEM careers and into technology in particular. And while I'd like to believe that our collective efforts have really helped to move the dial on the percentage of women, particularly in leadership roles, studies still show that the gender gap for women in technology as a whole is actually worse today than it was in 1984, would you believe? And one study that stands out for me from Accenture, which Accenture and Girls Who Code did together, it showed that only 21% of women who participated in the study actually said that they believed that the technology industry was a place where they could thrive, right? Where they could belong, where they could really see themselves growing and see their careers growing. And sadly, that number falls to 8% for women of colour. Right, so there's still a huge amount to do. And early on in my career, the early stages of my career, I knew that I wanted to help to make a difference, to make a difference in the technology industry as far as I could, to make it more inclusive and more diverse. And so one of the ways that we have been doing that at Avanade, where you saw us in action at the time, was through our Avanade STEM Scholarship Programme, which is focused on helping women in underserved communities to pursue STEM degrees. And since its inception in 2015, I am delighted to say that we've partnered with over 14 universities and been able to offer scholarships to 110 students who are all pursuing STEM degrees. And we've now expanded the program as well to offer additional places to women of colour, Black and African American women. And a wonderful moment just recently when some of our STEM scholars, 5 of our STEM scholars from New Jersey Institute of Technology come together to create a Thank You Avanade scholarship, right, as a way to paying it forward to providing educational support for other young women. And if that isn't a wonderful testament to the power of purpose, I really don't know what is. But it's not enough to just attract women from those underrepresented communities into careers. You've also got to continue to support them and nurture them on their journey so that they stay in and they through their career and see their career in technology and their opportunity to thrive in technology, which means we've got to provide mentorship, network support, a sense of community, opportunities for leadership development, both inside Avanade and then also outside of our organisation. And we do that by working with partners. Partners like Junior Achievement, like the Aleto Foundation, where we're working together with Avanade professionals, provide future leaders the opportunities for mentoring and coaching and those sorts of support opportunities. So it's hugely passionate about it. And we have to be, because of the fact that, from a technology perspective, we are on a journey, but we have a long way to go in terms of that journey to really bring the diversity, inclusivity, and create a workplace, a career where people absolutely feel they can thrive and belong. And so important, back to Jean-Philippe's point around innovation, right? The best innovation comes from having the most diverse voices at the table.
I've also seen how your STEM scholars and your interns that come into Avanade through the Fuel Conference come up with innovative ideas that impact society and our communities. Can you share just a little bit about why you think it is so important to bring people together in that way?
Having those differences, those different experiences at the table are so important for bringing that innovation, that thought and thought leadership into the organisation, and across not just from the leadership, but at all levels, right? And we can learn so much from those young people as well in terms of what our clients are looking for, in terms of the services that they need to be able to provide for their customers, and therefore be able to help our clients and their customers to really digitally transform. I mean, we were able to help them to transform in ways which absolutely were unimaginable a few months ago, a few months, if not years ago. But bringing that diversity of thought, putting purpose first, really inspires us to look beyond just the ones and zeros, but also to the actual human impact of what we do. Right? And having those different voices actually help us to consider that. It could be work that we've been doing with the NHS, for example, and helping them around their ventilator challenges. It could be the work that we've been doing with several non-profits. As you know, we've been working with UNICEF to help them to be even more effective in fundraising. And the WHO work that we've been doing as well, with Microsoft to create a new interactive digital platform, providing even greater access to universal healthcare data. All of those possibilities only possible by bringing that diversity of voice to the table to really understand the difference that we can make in the world.
Thank you so much. I mean, I think, I have seen in action Avanade employees. They've been participating in my classes. They've been, coming into my classroom to share how the impact is being done. And of course, the Microsoft folks, since I am based in Seattle. It's just great to see how some of these things even transform the individuals' lives over the years that these programs have run. Jean-Philippe, in your own personal life, you have launched this foundation, Live for Good, where you're just so focused on giving opportunities to the underserved community and individuals to make change. Can you share a little bit about that, please?
Yes, Akhtar, it's only a huge passion of mine, actually my family as well. We co-founded Live for Good more than 5 years ago, and the mission of Live for Good is to unleash the potential of youth, literally from all walks of life, through social entrepreneurship. And as a result, to be able to actually accelerate what is being called a positive impact to a much broader community. So what we do in essence is really go after a lot of young people below 30 years old from, again, all kind of backgrounds, okay? They could come from the French suburbs, the rural areas, being graduate as well, genders, of course, female, male, all religious backgrounds, all mixed together. I'm a big believer of really bringing that as one community. And then we create a cohort of entrepreneurs for 1 year where we enable them to basically start with an idea to change the world and make of that a social enterprise after 1 year. And so with that, we've been helping a couple hundreds of social entrepreneurs in France now, in my home country for now. We've been able to have a wonderful example. A recent example during the pandemic I'm very proud of, 2 young entrepreneurs who created their business less than a year ago. You know, one of them had a container to do a selective, basically triage, right, of your waste for collectivities. When he saw the issues, the mask, right, with the pandemic, were left everywhere on the street, and particularly in the commercial malls, he decided to create with a low-tech a container to collect the mask, but he didn't stop there. Those masks are being actually collected by an organization with creating jobs with people for disabilities. They take the mask, they decontaminate the mask, then they send to another social entrepreneur from a community called Fabric, and what they do, they actually completely transform those masks into beautiful bricks of materials to actually build some decoration for those retailers. So you've got a full circular economy, employing new people who don't have a chance to get a job, taking care of some of the healthcare issue in terms of the mask and of course the not desired impact, and then having that recycling of all those materials. And that's one example among many, and I had the privilege just a week ago to actually reward some award winners. Every year we have a special prize under the name of my late son Gabriel. It's called Prix Gabriel. And we had another exceptional set of leaders. So let me stop there. As you can see, a lot of passion, of course, to do more for all this remarkable use with basically, you know, who are the entrepreneurs of the common good, I think, for the planet.
Now, this is such fantastic work, and I hope that at some point we will be able to emulate what you are doing around the world. And as you kind of take on this newer challenge of expanding the whole social entrepreneurship frame from Microsoft, maybe there might be an opportunity for us to do even more. Jean-Philippe, just, you know, few parting thoughts that you may have for our listeners, both as individuals and as business leaders, as to why developing a purpose mindset is so important today.
I think more than ever, Akhtar, and Pam said that really in a great way as well through many examples, everyone wants to understand why they are on Earth, right? I think with the pandemic, that got accelerated in a huge way. People don't want anymore to waste their time in jobs or activities that are not meaningful, that are not contributing to a bigger purpose. So when talking to business leaders, and of course with the bias I have that you know about, I'm always interested to understand the way they think about the contribution of their companies to this bigger goal. And of course I'm not naive, I know what it takes to run very large businesses, listed companies and so on, but I think it's very clear to me now that any enterprise, any organization that really wants to have real impact, not only with its shareholders, but with its people, with its customer communities, will need fundamentally to address that purpose questions heads on and to make it real, authentic. It cannot just be a nice marketing pitch because people immediately understand this is fake. So they got to work on the fundamentals of what they can do uniquely with the expertise of their people, the product, the services, the supply chain they have to have an impact in one particular area of their communities, countries, or the world. And I believe, I'm optimistic as you know, I believe that if we were able to really give that desire to more leaders, well, we can have a lot of more positive leaders, they call them, who can have a positive impact on the world.
Thank you. Pamela, just, you know, your thoughts in terms of, you know, some of these amazing partnerships that you have created at Avanade. You kind of mentioned a few just in passing, but maybe if you can just share a little bit more about your partnership with Junior Achievement from Avanade and why you think that is so important. And that's just your own personal drive and why you think having a purpose mindset is so important.
Yeah, And I don't know if you know, Akhtar, but since I've last spoken to you, I've actually become a member of the Junior Achievement Global Board as well.
Yay! Congratulations!
Congratulations.
Which just underlines and solidifies the impact, if you like, that I feel we can really drive through that wonderful partnership. And it goes to the point that we talked about earlier in terms of kind of, being able to help and support and nurture these young social entrepreneurs of the future, the leaders of the future, by helping through Avanade, working with them around helping individuals, providing mentorship support, coaching support, helping them to run design-led thinking workshops, looking at junior achievement itself and how we can create work with junior achievement on their digital transformation journey so they can have even greater impact on their reach. And in particular over the last year, when a lot of their in-person events had to turn to virtual, right? And so helping and supporting them through that. So, our relationship with Junior Achievement is both in terms of what can we do to mentor, support and coach these wonderful leaders of the future, as well as how can we help Junior Achievement to really extend its reach. And all part of Avanade's purpose around making a genuine human impact and starting with youth and young people.
So Pamela, just, for Avanade, why is this as a company so important, and to our listeners, why having a purpose mindset is critical in today's world?
Really it is, having that purpose and that purpose mindset really helps to galvanize and unify the organization. Right, but it's really important to formalize the purpose so that everybody knows what the organization stands for and what the organization believes in. And even more important is to do exactly what Jean-Philippe says, which is to seek the opportunities to really to bring to life that purpose with tangible, meaningful examples, because people want to know that the work that they're doing more and more is having an impact on their teams, on societies, communities, and on the planet. And one of the things that I actually do is challenge myself and to challenge my leadership team as well, to ensure that everything we are doing is tying back to the purpose. We're validating that the strategies that we are driving are tying back to the purpose, because that's what people who join Avanade more and more are looking for. If we don't do that, we won't be able to attract the talent that we seek and we need to be able to have an even greater impact as an organisation. Secondly, I think it's really important, when I think about Avanade's purpose around making a genuine human impact, to achieve the pervasive systemic change that we want to achieve requires working in partnerships. We just touched on the relationship with Junior Achievement. I talked earlier about the partnership with Microsoft in terms of delivering solutions for the World Health Organization. I really do feel it's about ecosystems, ecosystems of partners coming together, public, private, non-profit, to drive that systemic change, to really help to fulfill this purpose. And then finally, if there's anything, if we learned one thing over the last year, it's the fact that it's about we're all in this together. And purpose really does remind us of that. And if I go to one of my favorite authors, Brené Brown, Brené Brown talks about the fact that true belonging doesn't require you to change who you are. It requires you to be who you are. And as leaders, we have a responsibility to create an environment to ensure that our teams can feel that they can belong there. So those people with a purpose mindset, with an orientation to purpose, can feel they can belong to an organization where purpose also matters. Right, and so everything that we do, should be looking at reinforcing the idea where people can have the experiences, they can share their perspectives and skills, they can understand that the gifts, of those experiences that help to make our workplaces and our communities and the planet better than we found it ourselves. So having that clear purpose, ensuring your teams know what it is, as well as the why behind it, to also just emphasize what Jean-Philippe says. But it's not just the why for me, it's they understand their role within it as well. is an integral part to building and empowering a purpose mindset throughout the whole organization.
Jean-Philippe and Pam, thank you so very much for this exciting conversation. I hope that we can continue to do that. I am looking forward to your podcast, Jean-Philippe, and I hope that we can all be part of that. So thank you all both very much, and greatly appreciate your generosity and your time and absolutely what you do to make a difference in this world.
Thank you, Akhtar.
Thank you so much, Akhtar and Pamela. It was a pleasure again.
Thank you all very much for being part of this effort. As we close out, I would love to just share that today more than ever, a purpose mindset is critical not only to heal yourself as an individual and reignite your energy, but it is also a way for all of us to be able to contribute to the betterment of society and humanity. In my book, The Purpose Mindset, I talk about 5 principles which I would like to highlight here. 1, work from your strengths, recognize them and apply them. 2, put on the frame of abundance. You can always find resources. Start small, but do it. 3rd, focus on how effective you are and not on the efficiency of how you're doing work. 4th, build movements, not organizations. Movements bring people along and lead to lasting change. And finally, the 5th, be on that journey of empathy and compassion so that you can move from the focus on the me to the focus on the we. Purpose is that inner switch that lights you up. It is not about who you want to be, but it is about who you want to serve. So I hope that all of you have heard from Jean-Philippe Courtois and Pamela Maynard as to how they have applied purpose in their lives, in their personal journey, but also how they brought in to their workplace and are empowering their employees to also inculcate and cultivate a purpose mindset. So thank you all very much, and I hope that you get a chance to read my book, but more importantly, join us on my website at purpose-mindset.org and share how you individually have made a difference, and that through this community we can shine light on all the good that is there in humanity. Thank you all very much.